I think you might come away from this video with your mind just a little bit blown. The subject today is strength, and there's a good chance you might be surprised by some of what you're about to see. Physical strength is gauged in terms of forces exerted by power within muscles, most especially in the arms and upper body, which have most likely been developed through some sort of repetitive physical activity. And who wouldn't want to be strong, especially when the opposite of strong is weak? And if strength is synonymous with power, then to be weak is to be powerless. These words are but a sample of the many attributes that are conjured up when we think of strength. And of course, the opposite characteristics are reflected in these antonyms that come to mind when we think of weakness. So what then about this woman? She doesn't appear to be muscular at all, yet she could hardly be described by any of these words. In fact, nearly all the characteristics that apply to strength also apply to this obviously small-framed woman, except maybe brawn and muscular. So how is it possible that she has so little muscle power, yet manages to carry these humongous rocks on her head with what appears to be remarkably little effort? And I can tell you that she's actually walking up a hill using a small walking stick on her way to deliver these rocks to some men working at a construction site at the top of the hill. And at the time this photograph was taken, she was doing this all day, every day, in order to earn a living. And it's a sad but true fact that she was overworked and grossly underpaid. But the good news is she was able to carry these loads without having developed spinal or pain problems. On the other hand, our muscular friend here, who is the epitome of our cultural ideal of physical strength, would be hard-pressed to successfully carry such a load of rocks up this hill, whether using his arms or the top of his head. And lest you think this woman is some sort of an anomaly and that what she does is extremely rare, here's a sampler of women from just a few places in the world where it's still quite common for women to carry water, food, wet laundry, and building materials on their heads, sometimes while even carrying a child. And speaking of children, it's not uncommon for children to also carry heavy loads on their heads and siblings on their backs, practices that have been a part of village and family life for generations. Child exploitation in the world is a horrific problem. But the examples I've shown here reflect a way of life that includes bringing water from the well as an activity shared among friends. The more serious problem may be a lack of adequate educational opportunities. So let's break this all down, since there is an actual reason based on simple natural laws of physics that explains how these women and children can successfully carry heavy loads with this much ease. Fundamental to this is the recognition that there are two very different types of strength. One is natural, and the other, in spite of it making certain remarkable feats possible, is nevertheless unnatural. Natural strength is bone deep. In fact, our bones, in spite of their odd shapes, when naturally aligned, function much like the studs and posts of a building that distribute forces of gravity and any weight from above through the vertical axis of gravity or plumb line. Unnatural strength holds its power in superficial muscles that are closer to the surface of the body. This creates an imbalance that causes deeper muscles at the core and along the spine to be weaker. Natural strength maintains itself. It's the natural human state that all structurally aligned people enjoy, the outcome of a partnership between aligned bones and well-toned elastic muscles. In this scenario, strength doesn't have to be cultivated and worked at. In other words, this woman isn't strong because she carries rocks on her head. She's able to carry rocks on her head because she is naturally strong. Conversely, this man's strength must be worked at repeatedly through fairly constant strength training activities. If he were to stop his workout regimen, he would begin to lose the strength that he's developed. This woman's spine is elongated, with each vertebra stacked directly on top of the one below it. Dozens of small muscles attached along the spine maintain their balanced elasticity, allowing for upward responsive action through a supple spine as she walks, in spite of all these rocks on her head. This man's spine is compressed. The overdevelopment of muscles throughout his torso restricts responsive protective movement in his spine, even without a load on his head. And finally, the foundation of this woman's strength is the precise natural alignment of her bones in an ongoing interplay with naturally elastic muscles. This is the musculoskeletal system at work, and appears to be what nature has in mind for each one of us. As members of the only species with this magnificent, ingenious design that supports our ability to be fully upright. Unnatural strength is defined by muscles that are too bulky, thus the expression, muscle-bound. This interferes with the ability of an integrated whole skeleton to arrange itself along the vertical axis. In order for this man to have prominent deltoids, pecs, and six-pack abs, as he so clearly does, he's had to give up easeful movement of his joints, whether they be dozens of tiny facet joints along his spine or large weight-bearing joints, such as his hips and shoulders. Of course, regular physical activity and a natural level of stamina and strength are essential to good health. But it appears that culturally driven adaptations are defining what we now believe about what it means to be strong, fit, healthy, and sexually attractive. And nowhere is this more true than here in the United States, where the number of memberships in health clubs and fitness centers, when compared to other countries, reveals a curious phenomenon where widespread participation in repetitive and contrived physical activity has never before been seen in the hundreds of thousands of years of human existence. And in case you're wondering, the answer is a big fat no. You do not have to carry things on your head in order to be naturally strong. But we can learn by observing those people who do successfully do this, how to align our own bones so that we can enjoy all the same benefits of easeful movement, authentic solid strength, and relaxed comfort in our own bodies. So be sure to click the red subscribe button below if you want to be notified of upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching.